On this week's episode of the Superhero Show, we'll find out if the new Penguin show makes us miss Robert Pattinson, if this week's Agatha All Along reveals the name of Robert Pattinson's next comic book character, and if we could spot the new villain on Spider-Man the Animated Series. All of that and more on an all-new episode of the Superhero Show. What's up, nerds? Welcome to the Superhero Show, a podcast where a couple of friends get together and they talk about their favorite comic book-based TV shows that came out that week. Speaking of friends, let me bring on a very good friend of mine. First of all, there's Mike.
No, I'm sorry. I let me spit this burger out. I'm not prepared. This is the first time in history that it's so silent. I'm not even... what does a normal person say at the top of a show? You
tried to start that sentence 8 times, and I know half of it was because there was burger in your mouth, but also because we're just so used to Ryan coming and screaming. So
if I'm allowed to be introduced, I'm normally interrupted by now. So just like, hello,
this is
Cassandra,
your time to shine.
How are you today?
No, don't call me. You can't use my full name, not my God-given
name.
Oh my
God, it was so crazy. Guys, I'm here. I'm sorry for being late. Shut the fuck up, both of you.
Okay.
Because I didn't hear what you were saying, but it was probably annoying, like gnats in your fucking ears buzzing around.
I like
that. But somebody parked in my parking spot, and I had to park next to that parking spot, and so I am here.
They parked in that spot even though there's a big sign that says Ryan Spot?
And a life-size statue of me in a Lakers jersey slam dunking the ball. That Lakers jersey says Kobe Bryant.
Why the Lakers?
Because they know I hate them the most.
Huh.
It's a good prank on you and your big statue.
Guys, be aware of statue prankers. They're out there saying that they're going to make real statues. They're prank statues.
Stankers?
Ryan, if I just gave somebody $5,000 to make a statue of me, how fucked am I?
It's going to be all macaroni, my friend.
God, that's worth it, dude.
But not like... noodles do different things. Some noodles, delicious for eating.
Ryan? Ryan, before you... Yeah, they do.
Noodles do different things, folks. You heard it here first.
Art noodles, never bite into a bowl of art noodles because those are crunchy as shit and you're going to break your teeth. And also ruin art. Those noodles were going to be future art and that is gone now.
Gone forever. It could be a statue of me. How should I tell them to pose? Like, create my pose? What inspiration should I give them?
You should look as much like a car as you can.
Fuck yeah.
And then they will snap a shot of that, take some Polaroids from every angle, and then give you your statue that way.
Hold on, Mike. I'm going to open up the budget, and we're going to do 2 statues. The first one is Cassie about to transform into her Transformer car, and then what that eventual... Transformer is the Transformer the person or is the Transformer the
soul inside?
Okay. What car is Cassie if she was a Transformer Mike only and not Cassie at all?
Hell yeah.
Oh, I know cars. And
Big car
I
guy
know
over here.
Cassie. And I, of course, know that she would want to be...
Slam poetry.
I'm not Googling. I was doing the I'm Googling voice, but I'm not Googling anything. God damn it. My hands... It's a Nova.
Chevy Nova.
Okay. All right.
That's a line from the original Ninja Turtles movie. But Mike, you are wrong. It is a Segway scooter, and she drives around and has no lasers.
God, that is the meanest thing you've ever said to me. I can't even make eye contact with you right now. We're not even friends anymore. Don't put your hand up at me. No.
Hey, Cassie, real quick, let me ask you a question. What are you on the show?
I
dickhead?
am the dickhead number 1 and host.
And when we go from segment to segment, what do you do?
The fact that we can't say the amount of times we've said segue and it leads to here. How, Ryan, look within. Examine yourself.
Look within.
I'm tired of being
if you were a transformer, that's where your soul would be. But you have no Allspark, my friend.
I love how none of us have seen Transformers 1, but all we get from the Michael Bay movies is the soul they must have inside, I hope.
Yeah.
I think I only saw one Michael Bay movie.
All Transformers go to heaven.
Bad Boys.
Hell yeah. We are not here to talk about any of these movies, though. So let's talk about. I said we're here to talk about comic book TV shows. That's what we're going to do. This week we'll be talking about, of course, Agatha All Along. We're also going to be talking about Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And before we get to all of that, though, let's go talk about the premiere of The Penguin. On the premiere episode of HBO's The Penguin, old Ozzy Combs commits a bit of an oopsie and kills his new young boss in the first 5 minutes. He spends the rest of the episode on the run, or should I say waddle, claiming his innocence, breaking in a new apprentice, taking care of his crazy-ass mother, or should I say pink mother, and reintroduce...
You should not say that.
I don't think you should say that.
No, again? Or should I say penguin mother, and reintroduce himself as Sophia Falcon, who wants to know where her brother is. Taste buds, I ask you this. Do we finally have our first prestige superhero since Watchmen, maybe?
Well, first, Mike, let's ask that. Is there like an all-timer show since Watchmen for our podcast?
No. Well, yes, but in the way that we're dumb and like goofy stuff that's dumb. But of quality, I think we only have Legion and Watchmen.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was trying to think, like, well, does Invincible count? No, dude, you're being an idiot.
You're being an idiot.
Hey, guys, I would just like to come in and say you're being an idiot.
And I was like...
Well...
Now it's rude? Now it's too far?
Well, I was going to say it's Oz Cobb and Sophia Falcone, and now you're allowed to call us idiots once you say their names fucking right.
Wait, what did I say wrong? Never
Ozzy
mind.
Coombs? Yeah, you don't want to know.
Never
And
mind.
I hate that. I hate that this is all I've thought about.
Mike.
We have very few prestige TV shows in our 70-show run.
Well, let me ask you this. As a member of this panel that does its best work to watch everything, and so you and oh, nope, just you. I'm sorry, just you watch this HBO, I don't know if it's HBO or Max, or I can't tell anymore, but this continuation of the Robert Pattinson Batman story. Did you expect Watchmen?
No. I am old enough and have gone through too much to ever expect Watchmen. Because I will be let down. But
do you think that everything's going to be 2.5 stars, like mid, or do you think that everything's going to be 1 star so you can be surprised?
No, I think I'm stuck at mid.
Okay.
And I think this was better than mid. I don't know if it was prestige. I know it was on the home The Wire and Sopranos built, but it feels like more like, even though these characters are lifted off similar kinds of characters, like the Falcone family is the Corleone family from the comics, it still feels like more than real prestige. It's like, well, you've seen these kinds of families before, right? All right. So they're using a lot of shortcuts in a lot of ways. That's not saying I'm not tickled and entertained to watch this, but it has yet to carve out its own thing in one episode.
I hear what you're saying. And I do think that they have watched all the stuff that you're talking about, but instead of like playing on the tropes, they're just like, Xerox that 10 times. And then on your 10th Xerox or your 10th fax, send that in. So it is basically, I don't know, like, I felt like I should be respecting this way more than I was not entertained. But like, it was so much of like, hey, where's my fucking spaghetti? Get it on my plate.
It's so rare I'm allowed to say this felt racist against my people. But also the fact, like, so is Gotham a magical place that has Bostonian Italians and Philly Italians and New York Italians? Or is it that none of these folks are, so they just are all trying to do whatever an East Coast voice is, Guma?
It's important to note that Gotham never has any shining examples of how certain races or cultures are great, just how they're terrible. And I like to think of Gotham as some sort of, maybe Oz is too far. Like, it's not a fantasy land, but it is like this amalgamation of all the city, urban undergrounds that we know. But this was so like, all right, Batman. Hey, we have to watch out for Batman. Oh, there's no Batman? Hey, get me some Parmigiano on my pizza pie.
And you could make the argument, I think you'd be wrong. Just like once Goodfellas and Casino came out, real mobsters started to act like that. That's what these folks are doing.
Do you think that argument is wrong, that the mafia did not change after The Godfather?
No. I think that did happen. I'm saying you could be saying these are just cartoonishly into this dumb shit, and this. No, it's not a great show. What I am enjoying about it, if I may, is I love when people keep it all in the family and not like the capital F family because mobs. But Alex from Runways is here, and if I remember right, he was one of the more what's the word I'm looking for? Sufficient actors on Runaways. And I think he's gotten better, and I'm interested to see him become this little penguin protege, a little baby Puffin, if you will.
No, I mean, like, yeah, this podcast is very, I'm starting to talk like a character from the Penguin. This fucking podcast is like, it's always like this, like, we're going to talk about Agatha all along, and we're going to talk about the kid from Heartstoppers and how we're so happy to see him. And I'm glad to see that guy here. It did take me a while to realize who it was, and I think it's because there's certain faces that like I get used to like they wear glasses.
Yeah, he was glasses in a lot of stuff, or animated, because he was not Bruno but one of these other cousins in Encanto.
And yeah, he was Antonio. Like
somebody has a kid.
Encanto again before you show up next week for this podcast. In fact, you know what? Don't show up next week for this podcast. That's what fair. I would recommend. But he played Antonio. And so like it took me a little while, but I got there and I was like, hey, our guy. It's like when you're a fan of a college and an NFL team, and that guy goes from there to there, and you're like, oh, you're on HBO now. Their relationship, I will say, was the thing that everything was hinging on.
Yes.
Aside from storytelling, which I just don't think that these shows know how to fucking do anymore. But their relationship was everything that was hinging on. And the problem is that you have a guy who is pissing his pants the entire time, and we're not developing, you know? Like, I want more from my hour.
What I liked, his performance, and I do think Colin Farrell is his Oz, because Oswald Cobblepot is too cartoonish, so this is Oz Cobb. He is
Which is
smart.
what Cassie said in the intro, and you try to correct her.
No, she said Oz Coombs, so a different wrong name. He is smart, and he is stupid, and he is like blustery and cowardly, depending. Like Oz Cobb knows exactly where he is in the power structure, and depending on who he is talking to, he shifts. And I think Farrell does that so well under all of his Richard Kind balding makeup. He does it so well. And I think he is very watchable. I think I'm going to say there's a big three here. And I do think Farrell, Renzi is the kid's name, and then Christina Milioti. I could watch those three.
I know you're allowed to talk like that. It doesn't mean you have to. Ozzy Combs, which I'm going to call him now because Cassie has changed.
That's his name.
That's what I proclaim.
His name. I do think that he's doing a good job of being a like reporter of toxic masculinity, and then also the example of it.
Yeah.
Right. So like in the first scene where Carmine's son,
Alberto.
Holiday,
which we'll never see him become the Holiday Killer because now he's dead. That was a good bait and switch. Here's an actor you know from Miss Maisel and Boardwalk Empire. All right, you know this kind of gang show. He's dead. You're a fucking idiot.
I love when I talk and Mike serves as like that little yellow box at the bottom of comic book panels that just gives you all the information you need.
He was on a roll too. Like there was no pause button on that one.
This motherfucker.
It's a disease.
This motherfucker who I've never seen an episode of Mrs. Maisel, but I remember like walking through the room as my wife watched it, and I could still recognize him, and it's because of that like fucking 90s hair he has, just that floppy bullshit hair.
No matter what decade he's supposed to be in, he has that 90s floppy hair.
Still is like Doc Martens in a choker. Like, what is this, 1996? It's like he talks for so long that Ozzy Combs has no choice but to shoot the fuck out of him. He's like, and your eyebrows are stupid, and your feet are stupid, and your hands are stupid, and everything. And so he gets blown away. But Oswald Combs and his mother, which we have to get to, are dealing with the fact that being toxic is not a good route. and also the only route I have.
Right.
And so I feel like that. Was it Kenzie? Renzi is sort of like, okay, you're Gen A or whatever you are, and you're trying to teach me about like how there could be other plans. There could be like, you can have other ideas, but like I have to act like this in order to survive. But also the way that I act is going to get me killed.
Right. Because he's such a goddamn pop off. He can't handle people besmirching him to his face, and yet he is the way he is.
And like it's admirable, but I also think that that's life, Mike, is just to you pick half the people you know, you have to let them besmirch you. The other half,
yes,
you besmirch them.
And that's in the Bible, I think.
Mm-hmm. One of the commandments. How
Genesis
is this doing?
4:20.
It's a good number, Ryan. How's this doing? How's everyone else receiving this? Have you guys read any reviews? Are people all up on this or nah?
I'm in the dark. I have no idea how anybody feels about this show.
As far as critics go, I think it's the same thing as like a lot of our Marvel shows of like, it's getting good reviews, but it's just competency. Like it feels like a good show, so therefore it is. Like I can't give it 2.5.
They gave you a budget. Good job.
And you hired, competent people for every job, and that's awesome. But as far as an hour of TV goes,
it's long.
Like, I don't think you did it. Like I don't want to give it 2 stars. I don't want to give it 1.5 stars. But like, I kind of do because fuck you, man. You made me watch this hour.
It was like over an hour. You've lost an hour and 3 minutes potentially.
Think about all the things you could do with this 3 minutes.
Your life could have changed. Instead, you saw Colin in a fat suit. How is that fat suit, by the way?
The makeup's great.
Good. Yeah.
They should. The makeup artist team should get awards.
Give them one.
There is
okay. I'll give them a award.
Mike, shishis are not for 2 months, so if you could hold off for 1
Spoiler.
second. There are the people who are saying that this role should be played by somebody who is, I don't know the right term for it, unhoused?
I don't know if that's the right term for it.
Overweight?
Has a limp?
I mean, so...
How did you like that foot shot, Ryan? We do see the origin of Penguin's waddle. Not the origin, but like why he waddles. Because he uses even though this is, I think in 2024, he uses I'm going to say 1800s knee brace on his ankle.
It's true. If you've ever seen the show The Nick, he shops at the
technology.
Honestly, what bothers me more than feet, and you guys can write this down because feet are awful. Attractive feet are awful. Everything that is unattractive is worse. Mm-hmm. Penguin does not have cute feet. I'm sure Colin Farrell has incredible feet.
Oh, he's just the cutest little hair on his toe knuckles.
Oh God, and like that hair is probably made of like cotton candy, and it probably smells great all the time. He probably puts cologne on his toe hair. These feet are awful, but honestly, what bothers me more than feet is smell. And I think that when he took that shoe and brace off, it filled the room.
Your smell-o-vision turned on.
You got to keep turning that off. We keep telling you.
Oh God.
Besides the feet stuff,
so red and gross. His foot was the size of his calf. Oh, besides the feet stuff, what were you gonna ask?
And his toes were like a pit of snakes, and they were all crawling over each other.
Oh yeah.
Ew.
Every toe was a hammer toe,
somehow,
but not how you'd expect.
Ryan hates feet, but he has the best way to describe them every time, and it's a curse that he must carry.
The big toe had a pinky nail that was so tiny. The pinky toe had a giant big toenail that was so big. Everything was awful.
Well, that's clearly a terrible moment. How do you feel about going to moments of the week? Is it time?
Love it.
Loving it. Let me hear yours, Mike.
I will say the most fantastical part of this very grounded Batman show is that a guy with an accent like Ozzy Coombs, and his background is not racist. And he's like, hey, you biracial kid, let me take you under your wing. Nothing that in what we've seen from this character is this going to fly at all.
He finds the kid from that show. What's it called?
Runaways.
Runaways, stealing his hubcaps, and he grabs him. He's like, "What are you? You're fucking young?" No, young would not have been the first word out of his mouth.
But my actual moment of the week that I did enjoy is there's a lunch between Sophia Falcone and Ozzy Coombs. And his not knowing at any time whether she's going to kill him or not, and if she knows he killed her brother. I thought that all worked.
Cassie, if I can have 2 more minutes, I would love that.
All right.
That dinner was awesome. That's when I felt the Colin Farrell acting award coming out because he could not get comfortable because she refused to let him. That dinner scene of like 2 more martinis, I don't know, another shared plate of like let's get 3 tapas. I don't know what tapas are, but like and then just like he sits there knowing he killed her brother. Pretty sure he knows that she knows, and just like every question that she has. Also, Cassie, just so you know, our audience already knows, but just so you know, she was just released from Arkham as somebody who is wearing a gentle white scarf around her neck. So I'm thinking that was a suicide attempt or something. And
her name is the Hangman.
And she was put in Arkham because she just like doesn't really know how to do like business meetings. Like everybody's like, "Well, my briefcase is open, and so we're good." And she's like, "Oh, really? Are you?" And then just destroys meetings. But Mike, did you feel like we've seen this villain performance?
Versions of it. Do you know what I like? And I wasn't is because she ate like she just got out of prison. They're in the fanciest plate, and the minute the food goes, she eats like Danny DeVito's penguin. From Batman Returns. And good for her.
My mode of the week is, unfortunately, Ozzy Combs does kill somebody and has to handle it on his own. And he's slowly walking down the stairs with his wrapped up toes and his limp, carrying this body. And he's like, "Wait a fucking minute." And then he just throws the body down the stairs. He's like, I know how to save 30 minutes of my life, and just fucking yeets the body down the stairs.
Yeah, that was a good yeet.
The Penguin is on Thursdays on Max. If you want to check it out, head on over there. That is all the time we have to talk about the Penguin, though. It's all the time I'll allow. I will allow some time to talk about a website because, Mike, you begged me off air.
Yeah.
So now is your time to shine, buddy.
It's important, and it's actually apropos because we're talking about fucked up snake feet. And so this product is called the Perseus Pinky. And do your feet look like they had eyes and looked at the Greek mythical monster Medusa? And so there's stone and snakes and everything. You need the Perseus Pinky. And you wear this. It is a device you wear, and it slowly crushes and uncrushes and stretches your foot until it looks normal.
No.
It's like ancient Chinese binding.
No, but I call it the Perseus Pinky, a.k.a. the de-geisha fire. It's reverse geishang.
From now on, I want whoever has to do the Cybersprout ad to pitch their website, and then Cassie is all of the audience in like a live action.
That was the actual audience.
Yeah, we mic'd them for the first time.
The first time just for this foot
And it was one person going, yeah.
One person has a fucked up foot, and it's really going to change their life. Mike, quick question for you. So Invisalign has this thing where they kind of like send you home with ways to fix your teeth, leave you about it, and you check in every once in a while. Is there any checking in, or are you kind of just letting people kind of try to realign their feet on their own?
Well, because we're online, I don't have a brick and mortar office they can come to, but you can send contact. Right now, Perseus Pinky will get its own email at some point, but you can send your progress of your fucked up feet getting less fucked up to contact@popfilter.co.
Attention, Ryan.
And we thank you for those.
Mike, I have a question. It's weird to describe my feet, but like I wear size 12 Converse, let's say, but my feet are actually a size 3, and then my toenails fill out the rest of the shoe.
Right.
Is this a product for me?
It will work, but it will slowly curl your toenails into your feet, so you're stabbing your own foot with each step. But just cut your toenails. You're so afraid of feet you can't cut your goddamn toenails?
Oh, no, I can't now. They're so long that like no man-made weapon can cut them. But what I am asking, like what I've been
The
wanting
power
for-
of length.
I know, is that like that they curl in a perfect, like what's that one circle that we see in nature, like in a snail's shell?
Oh, the Fibonacci.
The Fibonacci, yes. I would like my toenails to do a perfect Fibonacci. Can we do that here?
Yeah, that's a setting.
Okay.
It's just a little
On
knob.
what's that name again? The Perseus Pinky. And I know it's look, I like alliteration. It fucks with more than just your pinky toe.
The whole foot, to be clear.
Yeah.
Although-
like podiatry. Fuck it. She could have gone
That's
that
right
way.
there. It's right there. It's too late, though. It's already
It's too
been
late.
branded.
It's been patented, branded.
If you want to go
It will
out to
brand
the
your feet.
clubs with 4 very tightly cut toenails on each foot and then 1 perfectly long Fibonacci pinky toe,
Yeah.
I think that you're going to
Your
pull out.
Fibonacci pinky coke nail.
Well, this is...
So it's like a crazy straw for the cocaine off your toe.
Yeah, you really want that cocaine to travel to really aerate as it goes before it can get to that nose.
Thank you, Cybersprout.
Yeah, wait. How does Cybersprout tie into this fucked up foot? Let me tell you, they're going to build a beautiful website for you. That's because they got design experts that are like trained in that. They're like made for it. They focus on collaboration. They got goal-driven design and they got fucked up feet. Check it out, cybersprout.net. They're your partner for Digital World. Coming up next, let's go talk about some other TV shows.
In the season finale of Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Turtles have their final showdown with their East Bay 3. But when Lee Eel,
Oh!
you get that? And Mustang Sally are betrayed by their leader Goldfin, it'll take all of them to save the Pearl. Yeah? We still in?
This is crazy. So
Taste-
in.
Taste Buds, I ask you this. The only non-mutant in this episode is Normal Nate. Normal Nate is voiced by David Faustino. Do we know who
David
that is?
Faustino. No. Who's that?
Don't Google. Cassie, did you
I'm
know who
not.
that is?
That is my, thank you for asking, that is my great uncle, twice removed on my mom's side.
Okay, I'm going to give Cassie hints
Okay.
until Mike guesses it. Mike, shut the fuck up. David Faustino was a drug-addled child star in the 90s.
Is this Fosse? Is this the dance boy?
Bob Fosse.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Fozzie the Bear. So
It is neither of those.
Okay.
All right, next hint.
Let me keep going.
His sister on the TV show that he was on was a blonde bombshell that starred in the movie Mars Attacks.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Mike's on board.
That sister was named Kelly Bundy.
So not Kelly Clarkson. Okay.
Christ. His parents were named Alan Peg Bundy, and his name was Bud Bundy.
Okay. Yeah. Bundy's
And his parents once thought he was doing drugs because there was dry powder in his car, and they tried to taste it, but it was his deodorant. That episode is burned into my brain.
At one point, he tried to, in order to be cool, become a rapper named Grandmaster B. And there's no more 90s thing I can tell you than that.
this sounds
Cassie, name the show.
Cassie, the theme song to the show,
yeah, please.
when Love and Marriage.
I'm not
Love
gonna
and Marriage.
I'm not gonna get it.
Ain't nothing but a horse and carriage.
This is Frank Sinatra, Cassie, that you're hearing right now.
Oh, this is Frank himself?
This is him.
Old Blue Eyes. Al Bundy worked at a shoe store. Peg Bundy always wanted to have sex, but Al thought that was awful.
Al Bundy went to Polk High and scored 4 touchdowns in a single game.
Al Bundy would grow up to someday move to California and be one of the stars of Modern Family.
But in between this show and Modern Family, he would star in a show called Dragnet, starring Ethan Embry, who was his co-star in the movie Dutch. Cassie, where are you at right
Dutch
now?
rules.
I'm in a different plane of existence. I have disassociated.
I've never seen a co-host so obviously pull up a phone and an iPad to not listen to what we're saying.
And not even look up what we're saying.
You
No.
said I
Answer
couldn't
just
look
like-
it up. I think
Mike, most important TV show with an ellipses in the title. Can we say that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
The initials of this TV show, Cassie, are MWC.
I'm still in this.
In the late 90s, there was a ripoff called Unhappily Ever After.
Is that what that talking
Is this
teddy bear?
helping? It was like a dog thing. Voiced by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Okay. This and The Simpsons put the Fox network, the fourth network, after ABC, NBC, and CBS on the map.
This is all some great things. Big things. Notable things.
Mike, can I talk to you real quick? Is there a chance that if we finally reveal the title, she'll be like, I have never heard of this?
She has never heard of that. Thinks we're making it up.
I think we have to reveal it. I don't think I'm going to get there, guys.
My moment of the week is that this is fucking insane to me. Like,
Yeah.
I need to find new friends.
What? I was on board.
No, I'm not saying I have to cancel every friend.
Oh, okay.
Calm down.
You just also need new friends.
My moment of the week is that I will admit now that far too much of my personality is based on the Fox sitcom Married with Children, starring David Faustino as Bud Bundy, who voiced Normal Nate in Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cassie, have you heard of the show Married with Children?
No, dude. What is that?
Ed O'Neill, Katie Seagal, get an education.
I wish I could.
We just lost 30 listeners, but by Cassie admitting that, we just gained 150 listeners. So
the dude who sits on the couch.
Yes, Al Bundy.
Oh, okay. Cool. He was on this?
No, he wasn't.
Let's move on to Agatha All Along. Ninja Turtles, when's it on? What's it on? Paramount Plus?
It's on Disney Plus. Disney.
Nope, Paramount Plus.
Yeah, no, it's not. That was the season finale. It'll be on next year or so.
All right. Thank you, Tales of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You're the greatest. Next up, let's talk about Agatha All Along. On the third episode of Agatha All Along, our newly formed coven comes across their first challenge on the road. For this challenge, the coven had to get dressed in their best Desperate Housewives attire, poison themselves, and create an antidote for said poison. In the end, they create the antidote, but not everyone makes it out alive. Taste buds, I ask you this. We got our first real taste of the show's challenge of the week, challenge of the week layout. So I want to see how you're feeling about it so far.
Yeah, I love that they're just in a fucked up escape room.
Yeah.
That's how you keep a budget low on a show. And every episode will be a different escape room task and play with different tropes. Not just horror tropes, but like you said, it was like Desperate Housewives-y.
But
the horror...
can we be honest for a sec, Mike, before you move on?
Sure.
Not just Desperate Housewives we're in one location. It's a very nice house. I think that the mom from that 70s show goes in and be like, oh my God, this kitchen. And
yeah,
it's all about the kitchen, right? I don't give a fuck if your bathrooms suck. It's all about the kitchen. But not just the Desperate Housewives, but the thing that also gave a title to, the Real Housewives of whatever. We took this wine and now our faces look like the women on TV. Let's be honest.
They did it. They did it all in one.
And for them just to be like, it's swelling, like we're allergic, but like, come on, you know what you're doing.
There's so many ways for faces to swell. These faces swole in a particular way.
We swell to the point that we look like the Kardashians.
They found like different areas on each of them to swell up a little bit more too. It was very good. But are you, like you said, it's basically a little bottle episode that we got where they're just in like 3 different rooms. And honestly, they made these 3 rooms work.
Yeah, you change the lights a little. You send them on solo adventures, which it plays into their fears. It lets the viewers get to know their characters and what they're going through a little more, as if we didn't know, but let's pretend we didn't. So like we know a little more about that. Yeah, it was serviceable.
Yeah, I think the problem is that like the scenes were effective and the genres were effective. Like there was parts of this episode that were fucking scary, but I didn't know enough about the situations that they were in to like make them personality involved. You know, like it just it didn't seem that emotional.
So you need to know their trauma before you see their trauma. You need the backstory.
I think this. I like this series and I like how it's going and I like how they're moving forward. But I do think that there's maybe 1 or 2 I won't say 3. I'm going to say 1 or 2 too many cast members. Like if we could have tightened this group a little bit, it would have been a lot better.
Okay, but then it's not a proper coven, so I don't know how to
Ryan.
please you, Ryan.
Y'all forgot the rules of the coven.
God damn it, Ryan.
All right, this is going to be fucking crazy to you, and I know that you guys have read The Crucible many times, but this show can create the rules of its coven and then be fine.
No, fuck off.
What?
Do you,
but you gotta have Green Witch, Heart Witch, Other Witch.
And other.
Do you guys like when anti-genre things are like, so like if it's a vampire show, they're like, oh, and they think that crosses hurt us.
Right.
Do you guys like what this show is doing with witches? Is like replacing witches is not like what pop culture has taught us?
I don't think it's a big part of, like, because you mean like the pointy hat conversation they had and all that, and like.
Yeah, and so like it gets to rewrite its own lore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we get to decide what witches are all about.
If it hung more of a lantern on that, it'd probably be annoying, but it feels just like... I think if you're part of any in-group, you're going to be like, that's not what we're all like, and then move on. And it felt like that more than, we're going to blow your mind about witches.
These aren't your daddy's witches.
Something that I learned from watching this episode.
You may.
I think that I'm super into, like, pumpkin spice-loving basic bitches. Because when they all walked into that fucking Nancy Meyers house, like that, it's complicated with Alec Baldwin and Diane Keaton house, and they were all in that lore and that like garb. I was like, okay, this is everyone is super hot right now.
Those thick turtlenecks, the super straight hair,
all the layers, the cream colors.
It's like such purposeful. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna throw something on. It's like I'm gonna make sure that what I throw on goes with my boots, my belt, my everything.
And it's ironed. It's so clean looking. I do want to talk about, so we did get the reveal that this guy is blocked not just for Agatha. Teens info can't be shared to anybody who is a witch, I guess. So does this confirm anything for you guys? Is this doing anything for you?
It doesn't, but Funko dolls and people who don't know how to hide things on Reddit do.
Mike, can we just like make a pact that like we're gonna ignore everything that Funko tells us and just have a time?
Let's just have a time.
I love a good time.
I will say this: ignoring Funko, I do think that they did a terrible job of making us think that the teen is Agatha's son.
Nicholas Scratch.
I still think it's Wiccan.
Yeah.
But I have no idea who Aubrey Plaza could be, pretending that I've never looked at the Funko thing before.
So that I don't know. That one I avoided because the Wicked one blew. And so, yeah, that one
You don't know that one?
To be in the nah.
Okay, Mike, we made an agreement to not talk about it, but I would love to talk about it right now.
Okay, let's do it.
No, I'm not going to do it. But did we say the M word yet? Should we talk about the M word?
No, but they did.
Right.
Mephisto was finally uttered. What do you mean mutant?
Is
Which
that how
M word?
you say it?
What do you say?
I've always said Mephisto. Is that wrong?
Mephisto.
That feels wrong in my soul. I don't
Cassie,
like it.
what would you say?
Mephisto.
Okay.
But
I was very excited to hear a new weird way.
I thought it was like Mephisto. Like, here it
I'm gonna
comes.
shove my fisto right in your face.
That's the new way to say it.
I think that they were doing two things in talking about how the teen might be Nick Scratch or Mephisto, and I think they did them both. Like, they're both like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We also had a death at the end of this episode. Devastating to see her go. Do you think she'll actually be dead, or this is some Witches Road? They're all witches. She can come back, because that is a big star to take out in episode 3.
I think it's good screenwriting because you want
Yeah.
the dead weight to like be gone, and that's why I'm excited for like Mike's death at the end of this podcast. But also, she can come back because the Witch's Road, we don't know what it does or what it can do.
Sure, I could see her coming back like as an evil hallucination thing, but I think Sharon Hart might be dead.
But don't we?
It also sets stakes Because she's not a witch, right? She was just like into plants.
Still
What if she
can't-
comes
still
back
can't
as
understand
red?
that. As who?
Red.
Instead of
Foreman.
green?
No, Red Foreman comes back. Yes.
It
What's
starts-
that actor's name? Doesn't matter.
Bobby McBobby.
Probably Bobby McBobby.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Let's go to moments of the week. Ryan, what do you got?
I think that I have to call out this show is nonstop referencing other witch pop culture to the point where the end credits is literally showing all of its influences. I have to watch the end credits every episode because maybe there's an post-credit scene and I'm fucking doped up and I like that's just my life now is that I have to hope. But I got a different reference. And so I want to pitch this to Mike and maybe Cassie. That when they climbed into the oven and fell down a slide back into the Witch's Road or whatever it's called, that was Goonies.
Oh, yeah.
All of the Goonies.
It's our time down here.
All of the Goonies fell down that slide out of it. Just like, isn't this fun? We might die soon, but isn't this fun? Exactly like how this was shot.
So do you think they'll actually give you full Goonies for a little bit, or that was your little moment of Goonies?
That was the little moment, yeah.
Well, then
You don't think they'll end up on a pirate ship?
I just think that like we're of that age now where when the people who were making movies when we were growing up were referencing Hitchcock and Billy
Right.
Wilder, and now we're watching Goonies references constantly.
nonstop.
Constantly.
Yeah.
I wish it would stop, and it just doesn't. Mike, what's
I
your
just
moment of
want
the
a
week?
goon.
They're trying to make the antidote. Sasha, what's Sasha Zamir? No,
Shashir.
Sashir Zamata.
Sashir Zamata. Thank you. I've become old. I just guess people's names and I'm wrong. Sashir Zamata is the potions witch, and she's brewing her potion in the sink, and then she's like, "Wait, I need to boil it." And then Teen goes, "I bet the Sweet Kitchen has a sous vide."
Of course,
and then
yeah.
he has to explain sous vide to everybody, and that made me chuckle.
And is that because of Starbucks?
Sous vide?
Yeah. Is that
No, I mean it's because of the French. I think first, based on the name. But Starbucks does have the sous vide egg bites. Yes.
I thought that's what like made it popular. Is that everyone knew about it because Starbucks does it all the time. Also,
It's possible.
when they figured out that Mrs. Red Foreman was on the table, they did this like passing the drink one by one. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the drink and then I'm gonna pass it. That does not like
That doesn't
speed things
save-
up. Yeah.
No, not at all. Hustle.
They can't spill any of it. That was the easiest way. Teamwork makes the dream work. Don't be so cynical, Ryan.
It
Also-
didn't work because they didn't put her hair in it. Idiots.
Idiots.
Stupid ass witches.
I've been meaning to talk to you guys about this. If we need one of our bloods, where do you go? Like everyone in movies and TV shows goes for like across the palm.
Yeah, not
No,
bad.
I need that palm to do things. No, thank you.
Yeah, like now this hand is off limits, right? If I jerk off, blood's gonna be everywhere. And also, that feels so painful. Like, aren't there other places?
Yeah, for sure. There feels
Like-
hard to heal. You can't put a Band-Aid on that. No, thank you.
Where would you go?
Like right above the knee,
Oh,
that
freak.
meaty part of your leg.
I would go outside arm, like forearm area.
Split
Yeah,
my
that's
pinky down the middle.
Okay.
I don't need it.
Okay,
I don't need
cool.
Yeah.
This is my last resort.
I do like throughout this episode when they're like gathering supplies, like they're making it all witchy, and then it ends up just being the dumbest thing, like honey. But like
Yeah.
everything could kind of just be summoned in this house because it was like a rich person owned it. Like
Yeah.
no matter what, like it was gonna be there, and it was dumb, and I was fine with it.
Like, rich people don't buy shit unless there's, like, old dinosaur bones inside of it. And therefore, we have every ingredient.
Therefore, it'll be in the cabinet. You're fine. My moment of the week is just when it really like they had their the poison like goes through a couple of things really quickly. One of them is hallucinations, and once we got to the hallucinations, it was truly like it took such a dramatic turn in tone. Like it was honestly pretty creepy and fucked up for a hot minute there.
I love when Cassie gets famous, like, vice president or whatever, they're going to be like, what was the first horror movie you ever watched? And she's going to be like, well, I was 42 years old, and I watched the 3rd episode of Agatha All Along, and that freaked me out.
It was a little spooky. You should be checking it out. If you're not watching it, it is on Disney Plus. It comes out on Wednesdays. That is it for the TV shows, but we still have time to talk about Spider-Man, so let's go do that right now. Welcome to S Tasmania Bitch, a mini show within a show where we take an in-depth episode by episode look at the seminal and underrated afternoon cartoon of the mid-90s, Spider-Man the Animated Series. This week we watched The Sins of the Father, Chapter 12, The Spot. And when we start off, this is one of the more chill intros that we have, because it's just kind of like, here's a science dude, his science stuff is getting taken away by none other than Tony Stark.
Are you guys worried about Dr. Fauci at this point? Like, he's going to go full villain, right? Like, he's basically Dr. On. So sick of getting shit from people that, like, he's going to create some sort of villainous power.
The Vax. And he just, like, out of his chest, shoots a bunch of syringes.
No.
And all they do is help you? That's a bad villain power.
That's a bad villain power.
This dude, he's really hating on the fact that, like, people with money are just kind of controlling his life. Like, he hates money.
These money-grubbing people just want to control he should be some weird fucking Cirque du Soleil clown character.
Yeah,
his voice is not a doctor's voice.
The entire time I was watching this episode, I was thinking, is he Asian? Is he British? No. He is Mike's impression of Mike going through puberty. That is what he was the entire time, and Mike just nailed it.
Thank you. I've been working on it.
He's also, like, so weirdly full of himself. So, like, in that voice, he'll be talking about how much of a genius he is and how smart he is. And then you're like, but dude, come on. Listen to yourself.
Nobody understands interdimensional travel like I do.
It's a hard look.
One of the funniest lines when Stark's shutting him down, he says, but this is my life's work. And Tony says, we'll find another project for you to work on.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't think you're listening to your employee here.
And he's instantly like, he goes to like, I'm not here to figure out something better for like toilet paper. And I was like, I don't know why you instantly went there, but we could maybe use some work over there.
Yeah.
And if Tony Stark was not like smart, but like if he was smart, he'd be like, he would say that to Dr. On and be like, that's a villain. I just created a villain. The way that I just talked about the person, like, yeah.
I'm going to call my pal Iron Man, and he's going to do some extra legal imprisonment right now.
And Mike, we covered the movie Minority Report. If you say that to somebody like Dr. On, arrest them immediately.
Yeah.
That
will be future crimes.
Right. That's future crimes.
Fisk is just, I guess he's been waiting for On to get fired.
Like circling the block, just waiting for the right moment of when this dude comes out looking pissed as hell.
But as old as Dr. On is, he's also 7. Because when the Kingpin opens the door and says, get into my car, he's like, well, I don't know if I should. You're a stranger, and I don't know.
And he's like, think about the scientific method. What could happen if you get in this car? I was like, well, you can't. There's no flaw in that logic. Now you got to go in that car.
He quoted your science Bible at you.
To plebes like us, candy is how you do it. To nerds, you say, well, I have the scientific method in this car. Do you want to get in?
Don't mind if I do.
We're at Fisk's laboratory, and On is like, oh, what, you're going to give him money? No, you're money grubbing. But then he's like, what about Dr. Sylvia Lopez? He's like, oh, a coworker I could sexually harass? I'll stick around, I guess.
Instantly, the hugest boner on this guy.
Most people talk about how women can have multiple orgasms. I've never seen a scientist have more multiple orgasms than when this one Wolverine-haired scientist walks in. And he literally cannot close his mouth. He's literally like, I will do whatever villainous stuff you want because this woman has Wolverine hair.
And Fisk's old British Two-Face Brit scientist is so angry Fisk is now working with a new Brit.
Mm-hmm. Really insecure about it.
I do think that Brits hate Brits more than anything else. But I do want to say ugly or half ugly guy. Like, he's got like half it. Why is the suit all normal? But half your
for
face?
style.
Shouldn't that half suit be ugly?
It should be like linen on one side and then I don't know if this would be too matchy or too wearing your own cousin's flesh, but it should be like crocodile skin.
Ew.
Other half of yours.
Well, what I would say is that this side is like a shiny suit, and the other half is your cousin's skin.
That's exactly what we were all thinking. Yeah, he's just really insulted. He's like, look at you gave your new scientist all these toys. I bet that's going to go great. And I'm like, okay, weird thing to be so angry about.
Can we dissect Kingpin a little bit? That like he is doing this thing where he's like always keeping people jealous of other people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, isn't that how Kingpin works?
For sure.
That is his whole thing, for sure. I want to get the worst, most petty work out of all of them.
This place runs off spite. We then cut to a carnival that Peter and Mary Jane are at, and they're having a great time. And that's because he hasn't had to be Spidey in a while, and they are just having a good old date.
When they're on that Ferris wheel, and she's like, "You've been so attentive, lady," he finally started going down on her. That's what that's code for, right?
Absolutely.
Well, sure. Yeah, he did the Ferris Bueller right down on that vajige. But I did not know that, like, Mary Jane did not know that he was Spider-Man. But
No.
I also did not know that Felicia had a different boyfriend.
Yeah, dude.
We briefly met that dude, Jason. 18 episodes ago, right?
Uh-huh.
In The Sins of the Father. He was barely there. But now he is so ingrained in her life, but so bitchy about her crush on Spider-Man.
And see, what I would do is I would be like, well, it's probably time for me to move on and find a different girlfriend. But he's like, oh, this is a great night, except that, or no, because Spider-Man hasn't gotten brought up. And Felicia will literally say, I know, it sucks. I wish Spider-Man was here.
I love Spider-Man. When I'm not thinking about him, I do like you. But it's, I don't know. Have you ever dated somebody who has a celebrity crush and then they're like, well, I'm going to kill that guy someday?
I'm sorry, what, Mike?
Huh?
Jason wins a stuffed animal, and then the second Felicia walks past a kid, she hands that kid the stuffed animal because she doesn't give a fuck about Jason, son.
But also, Jason's being a bitch about it because that stuffed animal, it's a spider, and that's when he starts whining.
You know that popular carnival toy, the spider? Fucked up, terribly sewn together spider.
God, they are.
Meanwhile, Dr. Owen and Sylvia open a black portal, and he's like, it worked, it finally worked. And she's like, you should step away from that. He's like, no, I opened it, I know how to control. And he gets sucked in it.
Yeah, he's like, would be a testament to my work, and then instantly sucked into that.
I love the amount of suck that these spots have. It's always when it's the most funny. Like, when is it the most hilarious that a spot will suck you in? That's when it happens.
And
then they appear all over the city.
Yeah, including the carnival, which then makes it where Peter has to go because there's someone else who has to step in. Who could it be? It's Spider-Man. And he's saving people who were on a roller coaster and the track was leading right to a portal. Classic. Love that.
And they, on the roller coaster, are like, yeah, let's go into this portal. They're so fucking down with it. And I love that.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man ruined their time.
They were going to have a fun time, and they said no. He then gets sucked into the portal. He starts getting thrown around all over the place, but somehow just ends up further down in New York at the end of it all.
Yeah. He just ends up an hour away from wherever that carnival was. But he also sees Dr. Owen, and he's just like, oh, I can't reach you, and then never thinks about that guy again.
Never.
He did not
Totally
give
fine.
a shit that he failed to save that dude in the portal.
Mike, as the New York captain of the show, I have to ask you, he's an hour away from where he was.
Yeah.
Or he could have been anywhere else on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Especially being an hour in New York, that much worse than being in, like, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's way more inconvenient.
Antarctica.
Yeah, the hour in New York, you're like, what, I gotta ride the fucking L now? Kill me.
We then cut back to Owen, and he has just figured out how to control the portals. So he goes back to Sylvia? Is that the doctor's name? And he's like, look, I can control these now. This is amazing. Look at how rad I am. Here's a portal. Just kind of tossing them around, showing off.
And Cassie, can you say here's a portal, like he says it?
Nope.
I just wanted to hear your impression of his stupid fucking voice.
Of the British butler doing an impression of an Asian man? No, let's not hear Cassie do that. It's crazy because he can't control them with his mind, and yet they are uncontrollable. And I love that in a Spider-Man villain of whatever the scene wants.
And he doesn't seem like a bad guy. He's like, oh no, they're causing havoc. I'll go clean them all up. Except he forgets one in the sky.
Yeah, there's one. He's like, all good here. Because at first, Sylvie's down. She's like, wow, this is amazing. They have a little moment. And she's like, wait, before anything happens, New York's getting wrecked. So he closes up all the portals except for one, like Mike said. And then we go to the next
That's
day.
what she says. Spot, I love you. I don't know that yet, but I have Wolverine hair, and you are being weird right now. But look at my hair. She did.
She said all of
and
that.
he went, we can't let him get those money-grubbing fingers on this technology.
Yeah, I think we just cut to the next day, and it's like Peter just having a terrible last day.
Yeah, he's
That's
trying
every
to get back in MJ's good graces, and they're dumb, stupid, moronic friend Liz is there. And MJ says, can you tell Mr. Parker that we have nothing to speak about? And she's like, Peter, I don't think MJ wants to talk to you.
Mike, can you tell me right now that you've never had a situation where you have had to go through a person to get the information of the other person?
Not when we're all literally in the same room.
Really? The three of you are walking down the street in Central Park. I know this has happened to you. That's
No.
never happened?
No. Liz is dumb and actually believes MJ when she's like, oh, I have to say it.
She's being a real friend, Mike. And then, he has this terrible moment. And then Henry also just grabs him out of nowhere. And he's like, oh, hey, your old friend. You remember me? You're not too busy stealing my girl?
Hey, bad friends out there, always sneak around and wait for the worst possible opportunity where your friend is the lowest, your enemy is the lowest, and then jump out of the trees and be like, oh, yeah, I also hate you.
You're terrible. Spot's having a great old day, though, because he's out here. He now realizes that he can be his own, portal science dude. He just needs some money himself. So how does he solve that? You steal it.
What happens on a classic New York Sunday?
Bank robbery.
And he's just going to throw a bunch of bags of money. Did they all have dollar signs? Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Into a portal.
Spider-Man kind of jumps in there, and he's just because they're just kind of buds, so this dude's not violent at all, so they just have very casual interactions. He's like, hey, so how are you going to get all this money out of here? And he's like this, and just portals it out from there, and Spider-Man's like, whoa, crazy.
Faced. And then he tries to web him, but because there's spots all over, he just webs the shit out of himself.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
We then see Spot go to a ring store that Felicia and Jason are also at, because Jason is trying to put a ring on that girl.
This sucks, man. You take it I need to pop in here for an errand. Oh, pick that ring. What do you like? Will you marry me right now? Whoa,
Sucks.
bro, that is bad. That is lack of planning completely.
It also
I will marry you if nobody else comes through the ceiling. Oh, there's Spider-Man. There he is.
As long as your biggest crush on Earth doesn't ruin this for us.
Well, I love, she just got proposed to in a fucking uncut gems jewelry store, which sucks. But she sees Spidey and she's like, have you been avoiding me? Jason's still right. The guy you're actually dating is still right there.
Yeah.
And Spidey's just like, bro, we talked about this. We can't.
And also, Felicia knows Peter, right?
Yes.
So she is having a whole-on relationship with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
With Jason standing right there.
Yeah. It's an insane moment in this. There's been some crazy moments in Spider-Man. This is truly insane. And Spider-Man's just like, dude, I can't, okay? We've been over this. I just can't with you.
We cut to walking around the corner, and he's like, Sylvia, I like all this money. And she is on FaceTime with Fisk.
Ratting him out.
and yeah, he has all these crazy powers. It's wild.
He can control the portals. It's insane. It would make you so much money. And this is the biggest form of betrayal to him, of course. And they go, there's this Fisk thinks he can capture him. He's like, look it, you're gonna come work for me. And he's like, I would never. So he's like, here, my dude with guns. And Portal Dude's like, here's all my portals, and I'll send them through it. And you think it's gonna go in his way until he puts Sylvie in an undisclosed location somewhere.
With more guns. But before when he's like, I can't believe you betrayed me. He is a powerful crime lord known as the Kingpin. I'm not gonna tell him.
Like everyone is living in this crazy universe, and she's like, hey, there's a dude named the Kingpin, and I work for him, so absolutely I'll give him any information. They then come up with a plan. Fisk tells Ohm to just kind of like hang out in an area, and eventually Spider-Man will come find you and we'll set this trap, and that's exactly what happens. Spider-Man just kind of appears, and they have a little interaction, little tussle. Spider-Man finally figures out how to like punch through the portals using science, I guess, or feeling. I don't know, one of the two.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's sort of like I cannot beat you. Your power is insane. So what if we just like had beers as homies? Like what if we just like hung out?
Yeah, because Spidey punches him and then he pouts and tells him what's going on, and Spidey's like, all right, I'll help you.
I've never seen a man just instantly dejected sitting on the ground.
That's the best Spidey thing is like he's like, what's really going on? He's like,
yeah,
I like a girl. And Spidey's like, yeah, okay.
We're bros.
You're right. I also like a girl.
And then they have this plan. It's so dramatic. Ohm comes walking through a portal into Fisk's little lair, just holding him like he's a dead sack of potatoes. And Spider-Man is fully laid out. And he just puts him on a counter. He's like, here's your Spider-Man.
And while watching, did you guys feel Spider-Man saying, like, should I do it now? Should I do it now?
Always waiting.
Should I do it now? Should I punch now? Should I punch now?
He waited for Fisk to start to untuck the mask and say, I've waited for this for some time. And then Spidey being Spidey, he can't let a fat joke go by. He says, what have you been waiting for, a pie eating contest?
Shit, Peter Parker's an asshole.
and Fisk goes, as many a t-shirt in the pool wearing guys have in the past, says, I'm actually mostly muscle?
Yeah. He's like, this is actually, I have 3% fat. This is all muscle, and you're about to see what I can do.
And I'm sorry, Mike, the pools that you go to, you see people wearing shirts that declare their percentage?
Yep.
There's just kind of like a scuffle. They eventually, I don't know, get Fisk. I can't tell you what happens in this battle, but it all ends up totally fine.
Oh, they all realize Spot left the sky portal open.
That's it.
And they're all going to die, and Fisk is like, you guys got to borrow my PJ.
Yeah.
to get up there.
Straight up, there's we need to power up this dude. He needs to get real electrified, and we need to get him close to the portal. And Fisk is like, perfect, I got a jet.
And he's also surprised. He's like, Spider-Man's a scientist? I mean,
and
everybody is?
Yeah, Kingpin is very surprised that Spider-Man is smart, but also the Two-Face is surprised that Kingpin will let this jet go out because he's like, you're a villain, bro. And then he's like, I'm going to let this jet go out because I want the world to still exist. And then we get my favorite thing of all time, which is Spider-Man saying, wait, hold on. Plug this computer into the jet plane, and that will give him more power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You literally, there's one part on the jet plane where you just set this little thing on, and you can, it's kind of like an outlet, plug it right into there. It's going to power a dude up, and he will, eventually, like, they're starting to try to close this. It almost closes where you have that hope, and then it's just like, no, I'm going to stay open.
And I have to ask Cassie and Mike, if your beloved was flying into that black hole, would you go into that hole with them like Wolverine hair did with them? Sylvia?
Yeah, because he can make new ones and pop out whenever he wants. He's done that in the past. It seemed like really dramatic, except he was doing this all fucking episode.
Okay, well, I guess if you use logic on it, if you use the scientific method, maybe it'd end up being fine.
But if I didn't know that, no, we met 4 days ago.
Yeah, it's only been a couple days.
I'm just going to be like, oh, you go to your life. I'm going to do my life.
Just do your life.
Yeah.
They have a life together in the portal now, and it's beautiful for them. Peter also has a life with Mary J, and she took a day, she slept on it, and now she's totally fine. She's like, yeah, you got to take photos.
She doesn't say it. She doesn't say it, but she knows he's Spidey.
Does she know
right?
he's
That's
Spidey?
what I think she is heavily hinting. She's like, you got to run and do the thing you always do. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Or she is an absolute dummy.
Doormat?
I believed everything Mary Jane said throughout this episode, and then for her to come back at the end, no, that this has to be a thing where it always works out for Spider-Man. That can't be true.
He's got to get that girl. She's got to be on the side, and she supports her man. And that's the episode. There's something with Hobgoblin.
No. Yeah, there's a post-credit scene.
And he just kind of
this was wild.
Finds the little accelerator thing.
He says, I want that fucking machine that creates people or whatever. And then he laughs for 10 minutes while holding the phone away from his head. Who is on the phone right now?
That's a terrible on-hold sound. That cackle.
And that's a way to end an episode. And that's a wrap on this one. So let's go to our awards now. I'm going to start it off with Best Web Zinger. Mike, what do you got for it?
Spidey does at some point say, because the guy's like, I'm the spot. And he says, well, maybe I need a spot remover.
Hell yeah, dude. Classic. Ryan, what do you got?
Shouldn't you be the mascot of a firehouse?
Yeah.
Because he looks like a Dalmatian.
There was 2 moments he knew 2 things about spots, and he used both of them. There was 2 chances here, and I also had mascot for a fire department, so I'm going to give that one to Ryan. Ryan, you're going to get 3 points for it for matching me. Our next one is Kung Fu Grip or Best Move or Power. Ryan, what do you got for it?
Oh, it is. I do think that this episode had to end in Spot and Spider-Man banding together, because if Spider-Man can't beat Spot, and his whole thing of I'm gonna throw a Spot and then I'm gonna kick out a leg and then I'm gonna trip you and then I'm gonna punch you. It was that whole jewelry scene of Spot fighting Spider-Man.
It's very cool to use portals to just kind of go through.
Yeah.
But stay in the same area. Mike, what do you got?
Mine's the reversal. It is Spider-Man figuring out how he's like, wait, holes go 2 ways. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude.
And then he uses them back against Spot.
You guys were so close with these portals and how it could be a good move or power, but you forgot about the power to use the scientific curiosity and the scientific method to kidnap somebody. And it was there all along. We could all be using that at any moment. And I'm clearly the correct one here, so I'm going to give myself 2 points for that because I did such a good job. Let's move to most 90s thing. Mike, what do you got for it?
It feels very 90s to me. So MJ left Harry because he is a weak, feckless father's boy, and she left him for Spider-Man. And now, a month or 2 later, she's dating Pete, and Harry's like, thanks for stealing MJ, my property. That's 90s as fuck.
When she waited for that moment, he was in the park behind a bush, and then he was like, yeah, and also, fuck you.
Yeah.
Ryan, what do you got for most 90s thing?
It's the little yellow thing that Spider-Man has in his hand. It looks like a Tamagotchi. It's so tiny and yellow, and I'm going to take care of this, and I'm going to make sure that it is fed.
When does he have a
Shrugs.
Tamagotchi?
It's to track the radiation that the spots give out, but it looks like
so
a Tamagotchi.
Yellow. It's so 90s yellow.
There's a kind of yellow that doesn't exist anymore that existed in the 90s.
Don't you think, Mike?
I think so. Ryan, I would love to know
There's no time
what
for
Cassie's
it.
is.
Thank you so much. The most 90s thing is obviously to have money signs clearly marked on all your money bags. Just felt 90s
That's
to me.
so much older than the 90s.
God
That's
damn
the
it.
50s or 40s or 30s.
Okay, let's say 90s. Let's meet in the middle and say 90s. Did both of you guys give answers to those? There was Tamagotchi,
Yes.
and then there was
Owning women. Douchebags who think they're nice guys owning women.
You know what, guys? Everyone's getting points. Mike, owning women. I'm gonna give you a point for that. Ryan, Tamagotchi. Why not a point for that? And me, a point for being me. Keep it up, kid. Our next one is gonna be the New York is a character. Ryan, what do you got for it?
There's a character that literally says a bank robbery on a Sunday afternoon, and that is New York. Every single bank in New York at all times is just being like, it's just open for business. Like, why don't you come rob me?
If we're open, you can rob.
Yeah.
Mike, our New York boy, what do you say?
After their first tussle, Spot drops Spider-Man's ass right on the Statue of Liberty, and the only way he can get back to the city, he has to ride the Staten Island ferry.
And the graphics they use for Ferry, I can't tell you why or when they choose to use these.
And I feel like we've gotten so used to their CGI buildings that I'm not even like, this looks absurd now, but when we saw this boat.
That boat.
Insane.
That boat is like from Monkey Island minus 12. Like, that is the worst boat I've ever seen.
For mine, it was almost Statue of Liberty, but also there was a moment when Ohm figured out he could handle all these portals and control them. He just literally stacked them up like a bunch of pizza pies and threw them out, just out into the sky like a good little pizza boy. And I feel like that is very New York. Any comments on the?
People in
They
New
love
York are
pizza.
stacking up things like
They
pizza
love
pies.
pizza. All right, well that
Throw it
didn't,
everywhere.
that didn't get a big hit, so I guess I got to give it over to Mike, who was Statue of Liberty, the ferry. It is New York.
And the Staten Island ferry.
In Staten Island, of course. Mike, 3 points for you. Now it's a moment that I
Hey,
cherish.
Cassie, I don't really appreciate when you call Mike the fairy. Like, that's not funny.
Are you sure?
That's a very 90s thing.
Oh, shit. Mike
That's
gets
the
one
most-
more 90s point.
A chance for bonus points for you guys. Go ahead and compliment me through this episode. Ryan, I'll hand it over to you first.
The Spot has a line. The Spot has a line where it is reminding me of Cassie, who always says, I have my hoes on my podcast right where they belong.
I think
He
you're saying
says something different.
pockets, podcast, same difference.
Right.
But it was definitely hose.
No, it was holes. I have holes in my podcast right where I belong, but I think that you think of me and Mike as your hoes in your pockets.
Absolutely. You understand it and you get it, Ryan. Mike, compliment me.
Just like Sylvia Lopez says, you are a powerful crime lord known as the Kingpin, and you own us.
That felt more empowering. I feel like a hashtag girl boss now. So thank you, Mike. I'll give you 5 points for that. At the end of this, that takes our total to. I got 3. Ryan, you got 1 or 2, unclear. And Mike has like more than 6. So Mike is the winner. You are the Spider-Man boy for the week. How does it feel?
Spider-Man boy. So good.
Perfect. You know what else feels so good? Wrapping up this episode, because it is time to do that. And can you please tell the people about some websites?
Popfilter.co is where you can go. It is our home. Throw a /Amazon on it. That's how you shop now. Popfilter.co/Amazon. It helps us
In some way.
edit websites in some way.
Ryan, we have another show that the people should be listening to. Tell them about it, please.
I would love to shit on the fucking face of the podcast called Movie of the Year. My good friend Mike is hosting it. And Mike, how do you think it's going so far?
It's a me. I think it's going quite well.
What year are we doing?
1996, folks. The best year ever.
Do you honestly, do you think this is an important year?
So it's so important.
I agree.
So many things happened. So many
Movie of the
movies.
year.
This week, I do declare, people will finally figure out what movies we're watching for the season.
That's a big week. Be sure to tune in for that one. We're also on social media. We're at Your Pop Filter on Instagram. Go ahead and give us a follow. It's how you can keep up. Another way you can keep up on all the episodes that we're putting out. You see fun little pictures over there. Go check it out. We got an email. It's contact@popfilter.co. If you have any questions you want to ask us, any comments, any concerns, that's how you get in contact with us. It's contact@popfilter.co. Next week, we are going to be talking about the return of Heartstopper, plus more Agatha, Penguin, and Spidey. Be sure to catch that one. That is it for this week, though. For Mike, I'm Ryan. For Ryan, I'm Mike. For me, I am me. Bye, everyone.